Does this bother anyone else? When I sign in, and then I refresh the page, I briefly see the sign-in page before I see the real thing. That's nasty. So it takes a sec for this on-off state change to get finished. And in the meantime, and well, only when that finishes does it call handle auth, which then sets state. And by then, this thing has already checked whether we're signed in and has decided to render the sign-in page. And then finally, the UID gets set, signed in is returning true, and it decides to render main. I want that to happen a little faster. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to store the UID in local storage and load it from there to set the state so that it'll render right away even if the notes aren't loaded yet. So in handle auth, right now what do? We call set state and we start syncing. Before we do that, I want to call localStorage.setItem UID, and I want to set it to user.uid. localStorage.getItem UID. There it is. So, and component will mount, which runs before render. Before I start my observer listening for the state changes, I'm going to call localStorage.getItem UID. And then as long as that's there, I want to set that on state. So actually, instead of component will mount, I'm going to call a method called this.getUser from local storage. And then I'm going to actually write that in a separate method because it's going to be a few steps. Get user from local storage. So we'll have to call localStorage.getItem UID. I'll save that. Const UID equal localStorage.getItem UID. And if I didn't find one, if not UID, I'm just going to get the heck out of here. And assuming that didn't happen, I will set state. And I want to set UID on state to this UID variable. And we've learned we can write a shorthand for that, right? Just UID. We could have also said if UID set state UID. But this is a pattern you see from time to time, so it's good to use it here, I think. If not UID, just return. Just don't do anything else. Just get out of here. Okay, still with me? All right, let's go ahead and set state. Right? So we're hoping that this happens so fast that it never even renders the thing if I'm signed in. Refresh. Yep, we never see the sign-in page anymore, even though the notes aren't yet loaded. Now what about if we sign out and refresh? Yeah, okay. It doesn't show us sign in even though local storage UID is set, because unauth state change will set it back to null pretty fast. Nevertheless, in handle unauth, I feel like we probably ought to take it out of local storage. So in handle unauth, I'll say localStorage.remove item UID. So when we sign out, we remove that from local storage. If we are syncing to Firebase, we stop. We set state so that the UID is null and notes are empty. And we reset the current note to a blank one. Right? And now our sign in, sign out workflow seems to be pretty good. Store UID in local storage. Which again we did so that we didn't briefly see the sign in page when we were already signed in.